We've got Roy Hawker from WOMF, Word of Mouth Marketing. Welcome along, Roy, to the Chew Crew.
Thank you. I've heard a lot about you guys, so it's good to be here.
Yeah,
excellent.
Thank you.
Good answer. Hey, can you tell us a little bit about what Word of Mouth marketing is and WOMF and how you got started?
Okay, cool. Well, Word of Mouth, WOMF stands for Word of Mouth Forum. I've been in advertising for about 15 years now, and one of the challenges I always face is we were doing a lot of travelling and running acquisition programs with clients, inviting small to medium-sized businesses to come on board with either newspaper, radio, or some cable television. And often the biggest objection was that no, word of mouth is what keeps our business going, or word of mouth is what we rely on. And it really got me thinking about, well, what's the opportunity with word of mouth? And you're seeing around the world now there's been a lot of businesses that are cashing in on this word of mouth concept, but I thought the most purest way to do it was just to capture word of mouth, as opposed to instrument it or to create it. Just capture it, and that's simply what WOMF does. It captures word of mouth. And the concept's since grown from that. We trialled in a place called Bloemfontein in South Africa for a number of reasons. One, it was in isolation. Two, it was a good capture market for us, and that we run these programs with media partners, and we had a good media partner relationship in that marketplace. And since then, we're now in 5 different countries around the world and growing pretty rapidly.
Fantastic.
What countries?
We're in America, we're in Namibia, South Africa, New Zealand and Australia. And things are looking good for us in the UK and Europe. Our model relies on us finding media partners that want to promote the sites and share in the revenue generated from the sites. Any concept like this, because it's localised, and each forum, each region has its own localised forum, it needs to have a lot of media generated attention, because it needs to reach that critical mass point before people really start seeing it as a tool, a valuable tool in their marketplace.
Okay, and so how does a member of the public or a company actually use WOMF?
Okay, so that's twofold. Firstly, a member of the public who's getting bombarded with advertising messages, whether they be on radio, television, in the newspaper, in their mailbox, etc., is developing a real resistance, firstly to the interruption media model, but secondly also just to trusting the information they're receiving from advertisers. As we know, advertisers are all trying to climb that same hill, competing with each other, and they tend to exaggerate. As a consequence, advertising trust consumers' trust in advertising has really plummeted. What that means for you as a consumer is you're now seeking or sourcing information you can trust, and that's where the game's changed a little bit. I guess also from an advertising perspective, or from a consumer's perspective, the old days of us needing the facility of advertising to keep us informed of information is gone, because now we can actually look up information when we want to. We don't need to be interrupted with, hey, if you want to buy a brand new car, here's an option for you. We can get on the internet and look for that option. Peer-to-peer interaction is now 10 times greater than any other activity on the internet, and that's because ultimately we trust one another, and that's what WOMF comes down to. You're living here in Brisbane, you're in your particular suburb, you're looking for a new hairdresser, maybe looking for regrowth or dying.
Steady on.
Or a new haircut.
The point is that you tend to take a lot of those things, and whether it's a new cafe, whether it's a restaurant, we don't like making the wrong choices now. We've got more choices than ever before, but we don't want to make the wrong one. And what WOMF provides you with is a resource for you to just look up and see the shared experiences of other people and make a decision based on their recommendations. So, and again, though, it has to get to that critical mass where you've got enough opinions there for you to be able to form your own. And that's pretty much, as a consumer, from a business's perspective, there can be no better place to sit alongside the very place that consumers are looking for that information. So if you're a hairdresser and you're in the region that you're a resident of, then it makes a lot of sense that your contact details, your logo, your websites are sitting right alongside that information that consumers are using to evaluate their purchase decision.
So what's the uptake been like on the website? Have you had quite a few?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. In marketplaces where we're flying, we're absolutely flying. Marketplaces like Townsville, Bloemfontein, etc., we're really flying. But it's the old model where you, like any adoption cycle, you'll need your early adopters, your innovators, and then you get to that critical mass. What we're seeing in the markets when we're hitting critical mass, we're virtually stopping all mass media and just relying purely on the snowball of users and the generation of word of mouth that creates from it. But it does take a bit of momentum to get to that point. And like any website or anything on the internet, we tend to do what other people are doing. So if we go to Facebook, or for many of us, the Facebook was because 1, 2, 3 or 4 people had told us to do it. that makes us the middle masses as such. The difference between some of us, like Chris probably only got told once to go on Facebook and he was on it. Some of us, may have taken 10 times before we actually did something about it. That's kind of like the same momentum or the same adoption curve that WOMF needs to follow. You need to just, when you arrive there, you need to feel that, well, a lot of people are doing this, well, everybody's doing this, I've got to be part of this.
Is it only consumer focused? So is it only consumers can put their opinions out there? Can businesses then advertise on there as well? Or?
Yeah, we're encouraging businesses particularly to get in there and respond. One of the things we're noticing is as soon as a business jumps on and joins the conversation, then it gains a lot more momentum. I can use an example in Townsville where a day spa had been given a reasonably insulting comment, and that comment they had then responded to that comment. Consequently, it went from 200 views to 1,200 views. So by getting in there and joining the conversation, consumers are really interested in seeing what the business's side of the story is.
What's the percentage of positive versus negative?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of people then think that this sort of thing is a whinge site. In our markets, around about over 53% of businesses that are rated, they get to rate in the background. 53% of them rate 10 out of 10. Now, 10 out of 10 says, I'm extremely likely to recommend this business to my friends. And in fact, only 28% of businesses get scored less than 7.
Wow.
So it's people going out of their way to thank businesses who have gone out of their way for them. And that's a really rewarding thing. But it does have its fair share, or 28% of people saying, I wouldn't go there again.
Okay. So what's next for WOMF?
WOMF is planning on being in 250 markets within 3 to 4 years. And everything's on track to do that. We have some very established media partners and some great business partners established in good markets. We're rolling out very successfully in the American market. Likewise, we've got some good things happening with some major media players in the UK and Europe. And our model at this moment depends on those media partners. Once we get it big enough and it's in 250 centres around the world, then we're able to multiply it even greater by just the word of mouth coming from each of those local regions.
Well, great. Hey, well, listen, thanks very much for coming along today, telling us all about WOMF. So if you like what you've seen, get on board. It's WOMF, www.womf.com. And share some great experiences about the businesses you've been doing business with, or even what you think of the Chew Crew. So
we should set up a WOMF.
We should set up a WOMF.
Really?
We should get on board with that, indeed.
I think we can organise it.
Wow, excellent news.
So do I.
Great news. Okay, well, we'll be back right after this break with Chew News. See you in a minute.